Bismillah walhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulullah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi man wala. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Welcome back for another week of Blackness and Islam. This has been a wonderful read. I always do this. Blackness and Islam. Someone else can show it if you can. Yeah, we all gonna have probably the same problem. But alhamdulillah, I think by now everyone knows the book is entitled Blackness and Islam, written by Imam Dawood Walid. This has definitely been an education for all of us. I think we've been kind of talking amongst us, and everyone's been on, the same page, saying, SubhanAllah, we have learned so much, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward Imam Walid for his efforts and all those who assisted him in putting this together. It's an excellent work, highly recommended. Should be required reading for all Muslims. Anyway, tonight we're blessed to have the guest speaker, Brother Rashid Ibn Quadir, to lead us in the reading and discussion, inshallah. And without further ado, I will hand it over to Brother Rashid. Assalamu alaikum.
Islam. Call that up sadri wa yasir li amri wa luqatan min lisani. Ya Rabbil Alameen, please remove these things from our hearts, increase us in knowledge, and grant us wisdom. Ya Rabbil Alameen. So yeah, like Brother Abdul Alim had mentioned, this has been a beautiful, beautiful reading. And so where we're down to, just a little bit of housekeeping, is we're down to the last three individuals of Ahlul Bayt, and then we have the conclusion, inshallah. So tonight the intention is to get as far as we can into these three individuals, inshallah, and then finish next week with a conclusion. And then we may have some announcements at the end of tonight to talk about the plan for February, March, and then going into Ramadan, inshallah. So tonight, we'll start with Ahlul Bayt, another member of Ahlul Bayt, and this is Imam Hassan al-Askari. And so, to dig deeper into this, Imam Hassan Askari bin Ali al-Hadi bin Muhammad al-Jawad bin Ali al-Rida bin Musa al-Kazim bin Jafar al-Sadiq bin Muhammad al-Baqir bin Ali bin Hussein bin Ali bin Abi Talib, may Allah's blessings be upon him, was born in Medina in 2030 AH. In 2030 AH. So I kind of wanted to pause there and just remind ourselves how deep we're getting into the Ahlul Bayt now. So we're 230 years after Hijrah, and we can tell by the list of names that we're getting further and further into the lineage of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So Imam Hussein, his mother was a Nubian woman who was emancipated from slavery named Sausan. Imam al-Hadi gave her the name Salil because she was a righteous woman who was freed from bad character traits and immoral impurity. Imam al-Askari was described as being brown in skin color. Imam al-Askari was known for his asceticism, as well as his religious knowledge pertaining to different matters. He was also a narrator of prophetic traditions connecting to the Prophet ﷺ through an unbroken chain of narrations from his forefathers. One such narration from Sayyidi bin al-Jawazi reads, and if we look at page 99, this is literally one full page of just the lineage, of just going all the way from This individual all the way down to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and this is literally one full page where this hadith was narrated. And if we just scoot right down to the bottom, it reads, I swear by Allah that I heard Jibril say, I swear by Allah that I heard Mikael say, I swear by Allah that I heard Israfil say, I swear by Allah upon the preserved tablets that I heard Allah say, the drinker of wine is like an idol worshiper. So a drinker of wine is like an idol worshiper. Then if we go over to page 100, paragraph number 2, Imam al-Skadi was killed by poisoning in 260 AH and was buried next to his father, Imam al-Hadi, in Samarra. Masjid al-Askari is a much frequented location of worship and a place where both Sunni and the Shia go to seek blessings. Regarding Imam al-Askari having a son named Muhammad, who is prophesied to be the Mahdi, the guided one, that will return at the end of time, and that is a disputed matter among the Muslims. And right here in this particular section, they start to talk about the Mahdi. And I think this is, and we can talk further about this more later, but I know there's sort of like a difference of opinion on who the Mahdi is and who he's not, and things of that nature. So we're going to get into some areas of conversation right around here. But the next paragraph, according to the well-known creed of the Ista Ashari Shia, the Mahdi is the son of Imam al-Shadi, who was born over 11 centuries ago and has been in occultation, but will appear at the end of time to spread justice. According to the Ithani Ashari Shia, a pillar of belief is the unfathomable imamate of the 12 imams, ending with Muhammad, the son of Imam al-Shadi. One's faith, and then it says, one faith is not complete according to their creed without believing in the 12th imam. The belief that Imam al-Skadi had a son by the name of Muhammad, who is the Mahdi, is not exclusively an Athani Ashari Shia belief. Some other people of Tasawwuf among the Sunnis also hold this belief. Sheikh and this is one of the sheikhs from the Tasawwuf, one of the Tasawwuf orders, Sheikh Shablanji al-Azhari, may Allah have mercy upon him, referred to him as Al-Qiyam, the one who stands up for the truth, Al-Muntazir, the awaited one, and Sahib al-Zaman, master of the age, as well as Al-Mahdi. This was also a position particular to the Naqshbandi Sheikh, which is another Sufi Tasawwuf order, Mehmed Nazim al-Haqqani, may Allah have mercy upon him, who passed away in 1435 after Hijrah. His most senior representative currently is Sayyid Hisham al-Jakabani, who resides in Michigan. And whenever I see the word Sayyid, that is like a person of Ahlul Bayt. That's a name they put before their first name is Sayyid. So whenever we see the word Sayyid, just sort of a side note, that's a member of Ahlul Bayt. That could be many, many, many generations down, as they pointed out. In this particular case, this is an individual who lives in Michigan. The majority view of the Ummah, however, is that Imam Hassan al-Askari is not the father of the Mahdi. The coming of Imam al-Mahdi is a widely held belief among all sects of Muslims, except for the Ibani school of thought. There have existed scholarly criticisms about many of the reports pertaining to the home of the particulars of the coming of the Mahdi as being weak, with some even considering to be complete fabrications. It is stated in Futuh al-Makkiyah, the magnum opus of Muhayyal al-Din ibn Arabi, that the Mahdi is from the children of Fatima, having the name of the messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the grandfather being Hassan bin Ali. Imam al-Askari is a descendant of Imam Hassan bin Ali, not Imam Hassan bin Ali. This opinion of Ibn Arabi, however, is not based on authentic prophetic traditions. The issue of the Imam being in oculation has been criticized and did not start with the Ithani Ashadi belief of the 12th Imam being hidden. For instance, a defunct group known as Al-Qaysaniya held that Muhammad bin al-Hanafiya, the son of Imam Ali, went into oculation. Likewise, another group claimed that Imam Ali al-Habani was the awaited one who is forbidden, who is hidden, and then of the many sayings of the Imam, one of which, if we go down to the bottom of page 101, is surely in paradise is a gate called the gate of goodness, al-Maruf, and none enter it except for people of goodness. Two more of his sayings to summarize this particular section. Anger is the key to every harmful action. And one more saying is, whoever advised his brother in secret certainly beautifies him, while whoever admonishes him in public humiliates him. And I think I'll pause right there because we're getting into the Mahdi piece. So kind of want to just sort of stop and inshallah ta'ala, we can talk through that piece, and then we can go to the next individual, and then there's one more after that. So I wanted to kind of open the floor up for the conversation about the Mahdi, inshallah.
Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. So, you know, the Shia group, there's one group of Shia, the Ithna Ashari. They also call them the Twelvers. These are a group of Shia who believe in the 12 infallible Imams. And they're waiting for the 12th Imam, who is also the Mahdi. And he is the one to come, you know, as many of us know, at the end of time. And he will basically destroy Dajjal. Well, I'll take that back. He will be the one to guide the Muslim Ummah towards the end of time. He will call the Adhan, or the Adhan will be called for him, and then Isa ibn Maryam will descend and lead the Salah, and Isa ibn Maryam alayhim salam will slay Dajjal. But there are many events of the last day that will come. But anyway, one of the beliefs of Ithna Ashari is that the Mahdi has already been born, and that he is in oculation, I think is the word that was used, or basically he's like in a sleep state to be wakened at a specific time, bi'idhnillah, by Allah's permission. And then he will fulfill his destiny, you know, and of guiding the Ummah in the last day. But anyway, one of their beliefs is that Muhammad, the son of Al-Askari, is Mahdi. Imam Hassan al-Askari's son, Muhammad, is the Mahdi. But this is a disputed point between the Sunni and Shia. And, so there's a lot of theories about who is Mahdi and where he will come from and what will his name be. There are many hadith. There's some of them that have been authenticated, some that are not authenticated. So it makes it very difficult. And at the end of the day, Allahu Alam. Allah knows exactly how this is going to happen, and we don't.
Right.
So that's all I can say about that.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, and I know that this is somewhat of a controversial point. However, I do think it's, at the end of the day, it's still good knowledge to have. Whether we agree, disagree, that's up to one's individual choice. But it's still good information to have. It's good information to know. So if you're ever caught in a conversation or in circles like this and whatnot, at least we're educated. At least we know what the different schools of thought are, and that there is the 12th, and that the 12th is supposed to be the Mahdi, which a lot of people may or may not even know at this particular point. But it's still good information to have, and how it ties together to Isa alayhi salam and the Dajjal and how it all plugs together. Okay. See, our next. Were there any more points on this particular issue or questions or anything people want to?
Well, I was just looking at some of his wise sayings, because they definitely are good ones, and they were given and collected to continue to make us think. I like the one that said, "Whoever is pleased by not being seen as the honored one of an assembly, Allah and His angels will not desist sending salah upon him or her until they stand up to depart." That's just someone just sitting there. You come in, because silence is very golden, and a lot of times people want to be seen, but you just come in, you sit, you observe, and then you get up and you leave. Right. You didn't say anything, so people still kind of, who was that? You didn't cause any ruckus or anything, So it's almost like your aura, your spirit, your whole transformation you left in the room while you left.
And that's a good point, because I think sometimes it's easy to feel like, well, if you're silent, people may not know that you have certain knowledge or disrespect your knowledge or whatever. But most of the time, it's not necessary to always speak up. Sometimes just being silent is perfectly fine, So it's really a matter of tempering the ego in that space, and that is very, very important. So that's a good catch there, Brother Mustafa. Okay, the next individual, Imam al-Nasir Lil al-Haq Hassan bin Ali, and of course we know Haq means truth, so there's something going on there. But Imam Hassan bin Ali bin Umar al-Ashraf bin Ali bin Hussein bin Ali bin Abi Talib, may Allah's blessings be upon them, was born in Medina in 225 AH. The birth took place during the reign of the Abbasid ruler Muhammad al-Mustasim. His mother was Persian and brought to the Hijaz as a slave and then emancipated. He was described as a tall in stature and dark brown skin. He was known as al-Nasir Lil al-Haq, means the one that helps people towards the truth. Imam al-Nasir Lil al-Haq was known for being pious and brave. He was also known to be a learned man of the sacred sciences, including theology and prophetic traditions. The prophetic historian Al-Tabari mentioned that the people of his time did not witness anyone similar to his justice, excellence in his importance, and the establishment of truth. Regarding his scholarship, it is estimated that he wrote, now this is deeper here, it is estimated that he wrote approximately 300 treatises and books, ranging from the topics of theology, exegesis of the Quran, and sacred law. He was also a master of the Arabic language and poetry. The vast majority of his works are not accessible today. Many of them were destroyed and lost, while others are only found in manuscript form, in select libraries and in the private possessions of the Sayyids. Again, Sayyids is part of his family. Okay, and then there's some points that are refutable, as with anything else. And I think this is another challenging part, because of a lot of his books were destroyed or in private libraries at this particular point. But it was saying that some of the things positions that he took were refuted. And one of them here, it says, "O father of Sayyid Shirley, I divorced my wife 3 times. Is there a way out for me regarding this?" Meaning he wanted her back. Hassan al-Basri replied, woe to you, what made you do that? The man said, it was divine decree. Hassan al-Basri retorted, you have lied upon your Lord. Many of the rulings regarding Islamic sacred law were also preserved by the descendant al-Sharif al-Murtada in a book called Masa al-Nisriyat. The book relays opinions of Imam al-Nasri lil al-Haq, then gives comments on where al-Sharif al-Murtada disagreed, given that the latter left the path of his forefather for Imami-shism. Imam al-Nasri al-Haq left the Hijaz and eventually settled in Persia. After coming into political conflict, he then left for the area of Persia known as Dilam. The residents of the region had not yet fully embraced Islam. Through the preaching, Imam al-Nasri Haq, the inhabitants of Dilam, followers of Zoroastrianism, embraced Islam. Imam al-Nasri al-Haq became known as Dilam as al-Utrush, meaning the deaf. After losing his hearing while being tortured and imprisoned, subhanAllah, his call to the people of Dilam was, O people, be regardful of Allah and be upright servants of justice, exactly as Allah has commanded you to be. Enjoin good, forbid evil, and struggle. May Allah have mercy upon you for Allah's sake, as should be rightfully struggled. Restore good relations with your parents, children, and your brothers in Islam for Allah's sake. And some of the things I highlight were some of his sayings, and this is some things maybe we want to discuss through. But he was saying that wudu before ghusl is obligatory, but afterwards is optional. Takbir, saying Allahu Akbar at the beginning of the adhan, is 4 times. Sending salat upon the Prophet ﷺ is part of the first tashahhud. The Qunut prayer should be made in every prayer that has vocal recitation. And it is not permitted to break one's fast during Ramadan when traveling except out of necessity. And there is no itikaf except with fasting. Let me see, then there's one more person and then the conclusion. Okay, yeah, this is just half of 2 paragraphs. So I'll just finish this and then we can go, inshallah, go back over these 2 individuals and then next week have a conclusion, inshallah. The last one here is Sayyid Ibrahim al-Murtada. Sayyid Ibrahim al-Murtada bin Musa al-Kazam bin Jafar bin Sadiq bin Muhammad bin Bakir bin Ali bin Hussein bin Ali bin Abu Talib, may Allah's blessings be upon him, was born during the reign of the Abbasid dynasty. His mother, Najashiyya, was a Nubian who was emancipated from enslavement. Unlike most descendants of Imam Ali during the reign of the Abbasid, Sayyid al-Maturidi lived a long life. I have to highlight that part because that doesn't happen often. Unlike most descendants of Imam Ali during the reign of the Abbasid, Sayyid al-Murtada, living a long life, passed away in 400 AH. He is buried in his home, which is connected to the Masjid Hassan in Karbala. The very last paragraph of this individual is, the descendants remained in Iraq. After his passing, one of his descendants was Sharif al-Rida, who is the compiler of the speeches and maxims of Imam Ali bin Abi Talib. May Allah be pleased with him, known as the Bal-Ahal. It is relayed that he remained on the Zaydi school of thought, the way of his forefather. Sharif al-Rida, older brother, Sharif al-Murtada, is a famous Ithani Ash'ari Shia scholar. Most certainly Allah and his messenger speaks the truth. And once again, may Allah reward and bless Imam Dawood Walid for this wonderful, wonderful book. So next is a conclusion. So inshallah ta'ala, we can talk through these last 2 individuals. Go from there, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So going back to Imam al-Nasir al-Haq, just trying to kind of, so they talked about, well, I don't want to get into that because I don't know enough about it. I was just looking at that statement that was attributed to Imam Hassan al-Basri. But he made a lot of rulings that have been preserved. And some of these are still popular or considered to be popular opinions, majority opinion and not minority opinion. I'm reluctant to say what I think because I'm not really I don't have the qualification, but I'll tell you some of these I'm familiar with. But these are all pretty much mainstream, mainstream opinions, wiping up of the ankles, wiping the feet up to the ankles. I think all 4 imams agree on that, to my knowledge. I know in Shafi'i fiqh, performing wudu before ghusl I believe is sunnah. But here, I think he has as fard that you have to do that. I could be wrong on that, but I think, to my memory, it's sunnah in Shafi'i fiqh.
Yeah, it's sunnah in Shafi'i as far as I
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Yeah, making the takbir 4 times in the adhan at the beginning. Yeah, we still do that today. You know, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Yeah, we still do that. I mean, all of these are, you know, very mainstream, and I did not know that these were attributed to Imam al-Nasir lil Haq. So he's, you know, he's one of the scholars that are, you know, seems to be very relied upon and referenced. SubhanAllah. Oh, so, excuse me 1 second, please. Excuse me, please. I have to step away.
Okay. So yeah, I'm sort of in line with Abdul Alim because looks like he was standardizing, you know, a lot of things that may have been going on, you know, throughout different cultures or different vicinities. And so a lot of them probably agreed on a lot of his rulings because a lot of them may have already been doing this. So, you know, whatever the process was, like I said, I'm not qualified either, right. But it looked like whatever the process was in coming up with the, you know, the final say, then most of this, you know, the 4 schools, they agreed that yes, you know, let's do this because yeah, they are still practice today, which is, and it's good to know who it was attributed to. So that's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I had to step away from my own understanding when I read some of these because some of these are ones I hadn't heard before. So I was sort of like, huh? But you know, who am I to really like question the Imam like that? You know what I mean? And if anything, it just warrants the desire to do more research and to do more reading and just to check things out. Because I know a lot of the reading I've done is like from a Shafi perspective. And some of these may be a Hanafi or a Hanbali or a Maliki school of thought, you know, which alhamdulillah, that's fine. That's all acceptable. But yeah, some of them I was like, oh, okay, all right, okay. But yeah, like I said, it made me want to pick up Reliance of the Traveler again. You know, right. You go, okay, I need to check this one out. I need to take a look at this one just for my own knowledge, my own benefit, inshallah.
I was just looking at the last one on page 104. And say whoever talks during Salah out of forgetfulness or knowingly invalidates their prayer. So, you know, you should check out. So somewhere they are checking out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if you do that, then that does invalidate your prayer because you should be concentrating at least, even if you're not. See, that's where that silence will play in. If you don't really know where you are, or
right.
You're not quite, you know. I guess, you know, I'm looking at that as if I was doing something, I'm talking to myself, you know, trying to convince or bring more understanding, then that would be accepted. But in prayer, you're supposed to come, you know, to prayer, you know, ready to do prayer, ready to focus. You know, this is why all these things come before the salat begins, the wudu, the adhan, so that you can try to get yourself ready.
Right. And you know, paying at the, you know, hadith about paying attention to the Quran when it's being recited, you know,
exactly.
And pray. And they say the same thing about Juma too, right? That's the other reason why we don't talk during Juma, because he may be reciting part of the Quran or hadith or teaching a lesson, obviously. So we want to sit with full attention at that particular time, as well. But I don't know, you know, sort of the beauty when I was one of the other pages when I was going through the long.
Oh, the long one,
Yeah, the long chain of narrators and whatnot. It's and the fact that there were hundreds of years after the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, you know, there's just certain people within Ahl Bayt where they just stood strong. I mean, they still studied, they still learned the deen, they still taught the deen, they wrote a lot of different books, and they were accepted by both the Sunni and the Shia school of thought. So that there's still a long-standing piece of that. And even after I was looking further in the back of the book where they cite some of the references.
Right.
I mean, you know, subhanAllah, these are generations and generations of people that followed these teachings and shared these teachings with humanity.
So that preservation though is really, really good. That's why, you know, Islam has stood the test of time, because there's no ability where there's no chance of slipping something in or trying to change something. So Allah has protected his own, you know, this our way of life, which is great, you know, by the people that are observing it. So it's no spookism going on. It's, you know, a man like us or a sister like us, you know. So hey.
No spookism? Is that right? That's a word.
Yeah, that's a word.
Yeah,
so it's that is a word. So alhamdulillah, this was really, really a great read. I mean, I've come out really educated. You know, that now I could sit down and have some real honest conversations.
Right. Right. And, you know, even you know, starting tomorrow and going through February, you know, whenever we talk about like Black History Month and whatnot, and when it came down to Islam and Black history, you know, we always want to talk about Bilal, but that now we know there's a lot of individuals that were from North Africa and from East Africa, from Nubia and Abyssinia and other places that and those are just individuals that we can learn, inshallah, learn more about and study more about during the month of February above Bilal, and he was a great individual. You know, technically can't take anything away from him, but just the impact that that the continent of Africa had on Islam is subhanallah.
Yeah, another aspect as we went through this book is the treatment of just righteous people. You know, that's really has kind of, you know, behooved me to really know that they really wanted to take these people out. You know, for doing what? Just saying they believe, or just doing, you know, some righteous work. So it's, you know, I'm gonna have to do more study now, because it's like, wow, they treated these people bad.
Yeah. And like I said, what's up the Abbasids and the Hashemites? What was up with them? You know?
Yeah, Abbasids and yeah, right. So I don't know how long. Oh, it looks like the conclusion is just a couple of pages. So I guess we'll just close the book out. Well, are we gonna close it out next week?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, Brother Abdul-Alim wanted to do the you know, tie out with the conclusion next week, and then take
the rest of the
take a couple weeks off, and then the month of March would be focused on the last sermon of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, which is actually a good thought leading into Ramadan.
Okay. Alhamdulillah.
So did anybody else want to throw anything in there?
Erica, you're quiet.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
No, this book, like you said, has been a really good book, and I am so grateful that I got a chance to like join in and listen and read with you guys. But for me, this is like something that I have to read again and again to completely like grasp all of the significance in this book and all of the great works. And it's just because it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot, but it has been so beneficial. And I just really appreciate being a part of this this learning experience. So thank you guys.
Okay. Alhamdulillah.
But you know, you brought up an interesting point, because I think, you know, to read all the list of names and the bin, you know, we know it's alphabet, right? But now I'm kind of curious to go back and just sort of tie together things, you know, the son of, okay, that means he was your uncle or the brother, but he was, you know, there's more history that Imam Dawood, there's no way that he can get deep into. But subhanAllah, I don't know. Yeah, it just opens up the door to trying to get getting a better understanding of how all of these individuals, how they tie together.
Yeah, each one of these individuals could probably have their own chapter.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. As
That's
you continue, and and how did they truly affect the growth of Islam and the direction of Islam? So alhamdulillah, yeah,
right.
That's a challenge for us all.
Right. And in Persia, I'm starting to see Persia pop up a little bit more in the later generations. It seems like people migrated over to Persia, and there ended up being some dark-skinned folks from over in Persia. And I believe Persia is like Iraq now.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That territory.
Right.
And Hijaz, found out that Hijaz is in the area of Medina, Mecca and Medina. Hijaz.
Okay. Okay.
So it's I learned quite a bit. So I don't know if he's come out with his new book yet. Probably not. You say he was writing a new book.
Yeah, I don't know if it's out yet, but yeah, I did bump into a lecture. I think he was in Kansas City or something with him, and there was a professor from UC Berkeley. And so they were working together on a book, but yeah, I don't know if it's I don't know if it's out yet or what the status of that is.
So what will be the next topic, or is there another book on the books for the next halaqah?
The book club. Yeah. So yeah, right before the session, we're talking about doing the conclusion next week, and then take a couple of weeks off, and then in the month of March focus on the last sermon of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, because it's about 4, 5, 6 pages long, and then handle that during the month of March, leading into Ramadan, and then after Ramadan, I suspect another book will come on board, but the choice of that book hasn't been determined yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I hope Abdul Alim is okay.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, being a daddy, he's probably got daddy duties going on. So, but unless there's any more to contribute, we can close out.
Let's do this. Let's do an announcement for the videos, and I'm really big on leaving some at the end of the videotapes, the information where they can find these videos. They're on Facebook. You can just look up Embrace, ICNA on Facebook, or also on YouTube. Lots of information, dealing with new Muslims, dealing with content of Islam. This book club that we've been doing. I think you all are doing something in Sacramento, which could also be found under Embrace Sacramento, if you want to find it on Facebook.
Yeah, we're gonna record inshallah to the Sacramento Facebook page, but yeah, tomorrow night is going to be Sumayya, which is the first martyr of Islam, not just the first sister, but like the first martyr of Islam. And then the week after that is going to be Zayd, which is the adopted son of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Then the third week will be Baraka, which is the wet nurse of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And then the last week will be Brother Luqman, which obviously surah number 31 was about. And all of these are individuals that were rooted or their lineage comes out of Africa. So all of those are going to be recorded and stored on the Embrace Sacramento Facebook page.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah. Or inshallah ta'ala. All that.
Okay. You want to go it on, I guess, go it on to close us out.
Yeah, I guess so. Go ahead and close it. Ya Rabbal Alameen, you are the creator, the sustainer, and the maintainer of all that exists. It is you who gives us life, who gives us death, who gives us food, and who gives us drink. And Ya Allah, we ask on that day of judgment that you please grant us mercy, forgiveness, and protection from the hellfire. Yet up, we ask that you please give salams and blessings on the Prophet, on the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, may peace and blessings be upon him and all of his family, all of Ahlul Bayt, his wives, his children, and all the believers. Ya Rab, please allow us to live to see another Ramadan and to take advantage of the blessed month. Subhanaka wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Wal asr inna insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihati wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr.
I mean,
Wa
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, everyone.